Great. So thanks for joining me for Trophy Dark. This is going to be the incursion is the Giant's Carcass, and I've played with Billy quite a bit. I think this is my first time playing with Michelle. Is that right? Cool.
Michele, yes.
Michele? Great.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and just go around and do quick introductions then, so everyone gets to know each other. I am Mark. I go by he and they, and I'll be your keeper this afternoon slash evening. And I have not run this incursion before, but it looks sick, so I am super into it and looking forward to seeing what happens. I've played with Billy a bunch in our game of public access, and yeah, I just like like all these games. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Billy, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Billy. I use he, him. I've played quite a bit of Trophy Dark. I think this is the first time Mark is running it for me, but yes, I have a lot of experience playing with Mark. Excited to play with Michele, and I'm just happy to be here. I just play a lot of, or as much as I can, role-playing games, I suppose.
Awesome. And Michele.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Michele. I use he, him, and started playing with the Gauntlet slash Open Hearth last winter. And whenever there's a game in my time zone that I can catch, I'm happy to play. And so thank you for hosting this. And
Yeah.
I played a bunch of Trophy Dark and Trophy Gold in the past.
Awesome. Great. So we want you to go over the basic rules.
Yes.
Thing. Great. We will be running under Open Hearth code of conduct, which means we'll be using safety tools. I like to use the script change, which is basically X card plus. So if there's something that we don't want, we can excise it from the game. You don't have to tell me why, just let us know what it is so we can avoid it. We can also fast forward through stuff or rewind stuff that was not great. And so we have all those tools at our disposal there. We'll also be doing open door policy. So players are more important than the game. If people need to take a break, step out, or bail entirely, totally cool. Just let me know. We will be taking breaks, like 5-minute breaks on the hour. So if you need to take a break otherwise, just drop something in chat and we'll make it happen. And we will be using lines and veils. Lines are things that will not be in the campaign world at all, or in the game world at all. And veils are things that exist, but we won't see on screen. And those are under the safety tabs in our character keeper. I haven't filled anything out yet. This incursion does have some, the content warnings on it are body horror, confined spaces, graphic violence, insects, religion, and teeth. So if we have to skirt around any of those, let's take a minute and just go through the safety tab there and fill out any lines and bells we'd like to have. I will have my standard ones here. Are you all able to edit this sheet? Or...
I think so, yeah. Let me just try to click on something. Oh, maybe not.
Okay, try it. Try it now. You might have to reload.
Yeah, I'll just refresh. Yeah, that works now.
Okay, cool.
It just so happens that you and I basically have the same lines, so I don't actually have to do anything.
It's okay for me.
Okay, great. So our my standard lines are on sexual assault or sexual violence, homophobia, transphobia, sexism, all that, racism, and intimate partner violence, and generally have a veil on sexual content. I don't think any of that's going to come up this time, but just in case, it's always there. Great. So we'll jump right into character creation. Since you both played Trophy Dark a bunch, this should be pretty straightforward for you. Claim one of the two character sheets on the Treasure Hunters tab there, and follow along, starting with picking a name and pronouns. I don't know if it's a drop down on those, but the character options tab has all of the standard trophy names there. Go ahead and pick your name, your occupation, background, and your skills should fill in automatically. Grab your drive, and if you would like any rituals, we have our starting rune starting at 1, and any ritual you pick for each ritual, that'll increase your starting rune by 1, up to 3 rituals for a 4 rune. So yeah, I'll just give you
So I'm on view only, so I need to ask you for access.
Try to give it a reload, and it should be
okay.
able to do that.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, awesome, cool.
Great.
Yeah, sweet. So take the time you need there, and we will just drop a thumbs up, or I'll keep an eye on the sheet and make it go there. Oh, and I guess I'll pause the recording while we're doing this. There we are. Great. So it looks like we have our hunters. Let's go ahead. Let's just introduce them in the character keeper order. So let's hear about Pela. Pela.
Yeah. So I'll be playing Pela. So Pela is a lost child. So that is their background, and they've actually been lost since a very young age. So they grew up in the forest, and so for pronouns, I pick any just to get the idea that when you look at them, sometimes you may see some vestiges of some humanity. Sometimes you may see a young boy, sometimes a beautiful woman, but most of the time you just see an animal. So perhaps it would be even better. And in any case, it doesn't really matter, because I guess they can speak, they understand some words, but a language is still a foreign concept, and I guess communication is more about the tone than the words for them. And so their occupation is guide, mainly because I like the oxymoron lost child and guide, but also because it makes sense that they can look for the quicker path to safety in the forest, or foraging some mushroom or something to eat. And they have this drive, which is to inscribe their mother's name in the Azure archives. And I was thinking that this motherly figure may be some tether to civilization, or to their origin, and so they fantasize about it, or they dream. They have these recurring dreams about this mother, and they have a ritual, which is fantasy. So keeping on with this idea of the dream, and they can observe and alter the dreams of an unknown creature.
Awesome. Cool. That looks great. Let's hear about Orlin. We have our Orlin.
My Zoom totally crashed. That's
There we
weird.
go.
I love PCs so much. For anybody listening. Yeah, Orlin. I chose the Ox occupation with the errant knight background, kind of keeping it relatively simple. I imagine him as like this, basically like big barrel chested guy, big beard, long black hair, that kind of, that bit with like flecks of gray. His drive is to arm the resistance against Lord Haffer's tyranny. Once again, I kind of kept it in a straight line. I think, it all kind of makes sense on its own. Rituals, though, I decided to take one called Yoke, which I don't think I've ever even read. It says, apply the strength of a spectral bull to a situation. So, he's kind of single-minded, I think, like a gentle giant, I suppose, is the way that I would describe him.
Awesome. That's a fantastic pairing we have. Cool. Let me go ahead and read our little introduction here, and we will get into it. So this is the giant's Carcass. Once there lived a powerful sorcerer. Their magic was strong and unusual, but they wanted nothing more than to discover and learn. Legend has it that they ventured into the cauldron to wrest from it the magical secrets of immortality. The tales told speak of their success. They returned greater than before. Their greatness manifests in their now immense stature. As their greatness grew, so did their size. First, they overshadowed trees, then cities, then mountains. And that was when the gods intervened against the sorcerer giant. The smith of the gods forged a mighty lance. The trickster of the gods laced the lance with a vile poison. The champion of the gods used the poisoned lance to pierce the sorcerer giant's side, and the giant fell with a mighty cry, leveling hills and forests under their enormous body. And there they lie still, a giant's carcass, not alive, but not truly dead. The legends claim that the forest gifted the giant with the sigil of a ritual worn on their heart, which keeps them alive. Even more outrageous legends claim that brave treasure hunters might enter the giant's carcass and retrieve the sigil, thus becoming immortal themselves. So we will begin ring one with our approach to our fallen giant here. So as the two of you are traveling together, and you approach, the location of where the giant has fallen in the forest, what's the first indication that you see, each of you, that this is the place and not just another rise or hill or mountain even?
We start seeing around us this strange vegetation that reminds us of long curly hair, from a huge mane waving.
Orlin?
Yeah, I was gonna say something a little bit similar. I think that maybe quite a while before we actually find any physical being, we see this giant, like absolutely massive, like ring of copper, basically maybe what this thing would have worn on its hand or something like that.
Awesome. And you do, without too much trouble, find the location of the fallen giant. The form of it is no longer necessarily that of a giant man-sized or man-shaped thing, but you can tell that this wound has opened up a part of its body. Where on its body did this wound take place? Does it seem? It's hard to tell because it's been there for quite some time. But what does it look like to you?
I say it'd be like the equivalent of, if we're going to give an equivalent, I would say like the thigh or something like that. You know, like the artery you have running down your leg, more or less.
Awesome. Ayla?
Is this the mortal wound that killed the giant?
It is, yeah.
Because I was picturing it will be interesting, a small cut on a finger, which is so huge that looks like a gate. But it wouldn't be. It would be a mortal wound.
It was
laced with
So,
poison.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
I could dig that.
But wound on a tight also.
Yeah. So it's the scale of it is hard to tell because of the legends talked about how he was, you know, larger than mountains. So this opening, this wound, you know, it could be on the chest, it could be on the thigh, it could be the finger that is this size. But whichever part of the body it is on, you're sure of it because you know, you can see this opening in the side of this great hill, but also I think you hear before you see, but around where the wound is, you can tell that there are people who have settled there. They've some of them around the outside of, you know, on the floor of the forest where the giant has fallen, but it seems that some have even carved into the side of this giant's half living flesh homes for themselves. What's the like the primary thing you notice about these people that distinguishes them as kind of like devotees of this giant that's fallen instead of regular people, or as regular as it's going to get in the forest?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say something. I don't know how well it matches up with whatever the but I think that covered on maybe their arms or their chest or anything like that are kind of similar sigils, like they're trying to figure out what the right sigil is, so they use their whole body to test and find out how to gain immortality themselves or worship it, I suppose.
Yeah, awesome.
And I guess they all have the same wound.
Oh, they have the same.
So
Where's the wound on
scar.
their bodies? Yeah.
Yes.
Where do they place the wound in different places on their bodies, or is it the same place for all of them?
I was thinking the same wound that was inflicted to the giant. They reproduced the wound on their body, so they have a scar. Everyone in the same place.
Cool. And where is it?
So we hadn't established yet.
Yeah.
If it's on a finger, it will be very, you know, evident when they point at something or when they wave.
Nice. And some of them do wave as you approach. They notice you, and, you know, indeed they do have, you know, some have scars on their hands. They've tried inscribing different sigils on their flesh to try to recreate those that keeps the giant alive. And you're approaching this, you know, this massive rise with a great gash in it, basically, and you can actually see that you can tell that it's the giant and not just a cleft in the stone, along the edges of the wound. Um, it's almost, it seems like a flaky stone, like what's the stone? Like not mica, but something that's like in sheets, um, slate, I guess. Uh, but it's flesh colored. It's the color of uh, dried blood, and at times as people enter and leave, um, sometimes they're showered by the flakes of this stony flesh that falls off from the sides, almost as if like a um, piece of scar tissue or scabs have fallen off. Um, but these people, they do enter and leave from the wound here, and they will greet you there. It's clearly some sort of devotees of this giant, like Billy said, like they almost worship this great thing, um, trying to replicate the wounds and sigils on their bodies. Um, how do you approach them?
Um, not to speak for Michele, but I think that Orlin would probably be the one that approaches them.
Mm-hmm.
So let's make
But I think he's quite jovial, I suppose. You know, the big hello,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of draws all the attention to himself, so Pella can relax a little bit.
Yeah,
But he
and
will openly talk to if they seem like kind of generally like if they're waving at him and stuff, he'll be happy to talk back to him.
yeah, and the path into the wound, um, it's a path that's been used both by the giant delvers here, and probably by others as well. And when you speak to one of them, and they ask your names, uh, they don't really have to ask. Those from the outside, the reason they come here is to delve into the giant's body and uh, bring things out. And they talk about others who have come, some who have entered and become part of the giant, others who have uh, emerged with pieces of strange flesh carved, or um, maybe they have discovered sigils themselves and brought them out. The stories vary wildly, but you're definitely not the first ones to be here. Um, how is Pella? Is it Pella or Pela? Pella. How are they reacting to these mostly adults that are living and working in the wound?
you're asking how they react to Pella?
Yeah, or how does Pella react to them?
How to Pella react to them. I think it's calm, but on his guard. Um, um, and I don't know how Pella came to be with Olin, but since he's a knight, so I guess kind of an imposing figure. So Pella would use him to as a shelter, sniffing the air from time to time and trying to catch some scent to understand if these people are friendly as they seem to be, or something's cooking underneath.
Yeah, and interesting. The as you approach the entrance to the wound, it is it is large enough for 4 men to walk abreast, and there's a bit of traffic in and out of the giant delvers, these people that live here, and you as you approach you can tell this is living flesh, because or maybe it is a trick, but there's fluid oozing from the edges of the wound where it enters in. It could be water, but it's much too thick, and it just continually drips down the sides there, and it smells. It's got like a little bit of a sharp smell, but it's uh, very clean smelling, almost as if it's uh, whatever this fluid is keeping the wound open and uninfected, basically. And as you approach the entrance, you are stopped by a pair of giant delvers. They have shaved heads, sigils drawn on their bodies, and rough clothes. They are people who live in the Caldor, so they don't dress like folks even in Fort Durham. They have rough forest made clothes, and they stop you as you enter. And one of them holds up his left hand and shows you the scar that runs from the tip of his middle finger down to like almost to the wrist. And he says, "Travelers, you're clearly here to delve the wonders of the wizard god giant. Only those who take on the giant's scar may enter." And he pulls aside. He's got like not necessarily like a cloak, but a wrap kind of, and pushes aside the wrap on his right side, and he has it's a knife. It's a little bit jagged, and like it's clearly used for cutting, not wood or stone, but it seems that like he is someone who carves the inside of this for whatever purpose. What do you do?
That is a great question. I think I'll basically make the argument. The gist of the argument would be something around like, surely not every adventurer that's delved has, been sigiled or taken the sign of the giant. I'm sure that there's something else that we can do, or I can do, to grant us passage.
And he draws the knife, and it is a good. It is a little bit larger than a knife. It is a blade, and he just eyes are a little bit too wide, pupils a little bit too small, and just looks up at you, I suppose, and just says, "Surely, all who enter have taken the giant's wound." And he holds out the knife, offering to cut your flesh for you.
Yeah, I think Orlin will kind of glance down and back towards Pella to make sure that they're okay, or like, do one of us have to do this, or do both of us have to take?
All
I
who
assume we
enter.
both do. So yeah, I think Orlin will base his response on if Pella's okay.
So it will be take much convincing to get Pella to do this, I guess. And I guess the first reaction in seeing this huge knife, will be to hiss at his man, like a cat, and to take a couple of steps back. And I think, I mean, if you want, you have, I guess, enough authority to talk Pella into this. It's okay, they want her to, but first reaction would be to flee.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
as you hiss and take a step back, the one that does not have the knife grabs your forearm and pulls you back.
Oh man, yeah, that's not gonna fly with Orlin at all. I think that he'll just playing into like the oh man, I really don't want to have to like kill everybody around here. Uh but they are just folk, right?
Yeah,
I know
they're
there's
not monsters, so you can fight them without dying.
um that if I was like kind of having a back and forth with this guy and then this other one grabbed Pela, I think he would like reach out his giant hand, just wrap it around the guy's face, basically, more or less,
Awesome.
and just be like, like we could talk about this. We don't need to start grabbing each other. See, it's not very nice when somebody grabs you when you don't want them to.
Cool. I think he is going to react to this violently, so this is going to be a risk roll for you. So let's talk about what could go wrong here. I mean, the obvious thing is that they possess strength or resilience that you didn't expect, and hurt you badly, and in the process of removing your hand from their face. What else do we think might go wrong here?
They may call for aid.
Mm,
So even if we are not hurt, we'll be forced to flee and to look for another entrance.
mm.
Sorry, my Zoom is just loving me today. Apparently, it crashed
You're good.
again. Um, I think, I mean, the easy answer is that they decide that these people aren't getting in. Well, we're not just going to give you anything, and they basically cut us down more or less. There's
Awesome.
just too many of them.
Cool. So let's make our dice together here. You get a light die for a skill. I think strength is definitely counts as a skill for this. You can get a second light die for taking a devil's bargain. Is that something that you're interested in?
Oh yes, of course.
Um, I mean, a clear devil's bargain is whether you are able to stop this person from doing what they want. The other one tags you with the knife. Bella, any devil's bargains?
Was just speaking at the drive.
Mm-hmm.
They it might come up in a way or another that they are followers of Lord
Mm.
Afir.
Like that. Like they're followers who have taken to the woods for whatever reason. Yeah. Either of those
Yeah,
sound interesting?
yeah. I like both of them.
Which one would you like to take?
I'll take the one that goes with the drive. That sounds like fun.
Awesome. Cool. Great. And I think do you feel like you're risking your body at this point?
Um, I mean, I would say just because weapons have already been drawn,
Yeah.
so
Cool.
I'll take the dark die on that.
All right. So that is 2 light and 1 dark. So the risk roll is up top and should be able to roll there.
I got a 5 dark.
Ooh, 5 dark. Great. So you do it with a complication. You succeed. And since that dark die counts as the high die, you cannot re-roll that. So yeah. So tell me what you do with this guy's face.
Um, I like so I grabbed the guy. He does not let Pela go at
Mm-hmm.
all. Maybe he starts like muffling, or he reaches down to draw his own thing. If he does, I'll basically just shove him like back,
Mm-hmm.
and like in one motion as he shoves, he'll kind of put his hand out to stop Pella from following,
Right.
and
Right.
then go to blows or whatever it takes.
Yeah. So you steady Bella um, as you're pushing this guy away. Cool. Um, So the other one with the blade, he actually drops drops the blade, and rushes to grab you with both hands. Kind of like just he has the knife, and has it out as if offering to scar you with it. But when it seems that when he goes to attack you, he it's not gingerly, but he doesn't like throw it aside, but he just like drops it and goes for your, it's like grabs your shoulders and arms to try to basically wrestle you off. Um, and I think the complication is that, as this scuffle breaks out, others do kind of almost as if, um, yeah, almost as if it like scar tissue weaving together. Um, Others who were inside kind of fill to block the passageway, so you can't just run past. I think that's the complication there. And I think the way the devil's bargain comes into it is when this guy gets close to you and he's grasping you, his face is up against yours. I think that's when you recognize him. I don't know. Does he know you?
I don't think he knows me. I think I might recognize him like
Yeah,
through the scarring or whatever else he's done to himself.
yeah, and it's been, he spent some time in the forest, so he's his head is shaved. He definitely looks different, but when you catch his eyes, that's when you're like, oh, this is, um let's find a name for him. um this is Forit, who is one of the lord's men. Pella, what are you doing while this is happening?
I was thinking if I see this group of people flooding out
Mhm.
from the entrance and therefore blocking our way.
Mhm.
And so things are looking rough, I guess. And in Pella's mind would be high time to flee.
Okay.
And so it might take Orlin's arm and saying some, simple word without verbs, or
Mhm.
without conjugation, like we go, something
Yeah.
like that. And pulling your sleeve or your arm and pointing at a path that you hadn't recognized, um, that is somewhat hidden,
Mhm.
but now that I pointed it, you as well can see it, if things go as I think, as I
Yeah,
hope.
interesting. Yeah. Um, I would love to roll all that into a risk roll. I think using your paths to do that
That's
is
what I
is
was
interesting.
thinking.
Um, what do we feel like could go wrong as you pull Orlin away and find another way in?
Um, I was so that my initial instinct is just to say that the general village, I'll just call it a village
Mhm.
of people start to kind of weave together and basically corral us more or less.
Ooh, yeah, that could definitely go wrong. Um, I think one I think that could go wrong is that the path you find, it leads you to what used to be an opening that you would have to reopen yourselves. Cool. Paths is your first light die. Would you care for a devil's bargain for the second one? As you flee, one of them shouts out your mother's name, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar. Mine was going to be that on this flesh stone as we run by, your mother's name is written, like one of the sigils or something like that.
Ooh,
Um,
nice.
let me try to come up with a different one, though, just so we don't double it up.
Yeah, I mean, but both of those are great. Yeah.
I think that no matter what, oh, I think no matter what, one of these other zealots, just as Orlin recognized one, you recognized one because you maybe joined like a group of lost children out in the forest or something like that, and you recognize one of them from back in the day.
Any of those sound interesting?
Yeah, I like this last one. Another lost child. Okay. So it's too light, right?
It's too light. And I don't feel like you're risking your body here, so just too light.
5.
All right. So we have a 5 light. Would you like to keep that as a success with a complication, or would you like to add a dark die and try and get your 6?
I'll keep the 5.
Cool, cool. So this is with a complication. Great. So you're able to basically pull Orlin away and make a break for it. When Orlin, when you break away, it almost feels like pulling away from his gaze was like snapping like almost like a cord that was between you. There was like definite like a physical like effort to it. Um, yeah, but you basically get away. I think they're not interested in pursuing you necessarily, just stopping you from entering without taking their sacrament or whatever. And you are able to pick a path to a to another spot, not too far away. That does seem like it is scarred over. Um, what do you do there?
Is the path open?
So there's like a path through the forest that leads to this, and the side is like it looks as if there was someone had tried to get in, but because it wasn't opened by the poison spear, you surmise, it had healed over. So feels like you might be able to enter the giant's body this way, but you would have to carve your way in.
Yeah,
I think, yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think that that's something that Orland would be like, if Pella kind of, as a dog would, points him at that, then he will
Absolutely.
thusly, basically try to rend it open, more or less, speaking plainly.
Yeah. What are you using to open it?
So I think that he's got like, he's still knighted up, but his armor is quite dull now. He doesn't have a squire or anything to shine it, nor does he have the means to do it himself recently. But the thing that he has that is very well kept is this like two-handed axe that he carries, not normal knight attire. He doesn't have his long sword +1 or anything like that, but he has this big ass axe. And yeah, if he can kind of eyeball it, he'll try to split it right where the scar tissue is.
Yeah, I think you're able to do that, and it is definitely less earthy looking, and more like you are definitely cutting into flesh here, and you're able to with some effort, make an opening that the two of you can just squeeze through. It feels like even as you cut it, it's trying to stitch itself back together. But you can open it enough that the two of you can squeeze into it and continue pressing through. Is that something you're interested in doing?
I mean, yeah, there's that's where we're trying to go. We'll figure out the way back later.
Right. Yeah, and as you press in, it does close up behind you. And it is dark in here. And you can keep kind of like slicing through. How I guess question for both Orlin and Pella, like how do you feel kind of pressing through this dark flesh that's just wet and warm and pressing up against you as you enter the cavern, enter the giant? What does that make you feel?
Claustrophobic,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the same, especially from Orlin, who is like a big dude.
Yeah.
So he feels very pressed in. And, you know, he's done some questionable things
Mm-hmm.
in being a knight, but I don't think he's ever felt like he was still pretty high society before,
Right.
as high society as it gets in Caldur. But
Yeah.
this is definitely the most disgusting thing he's done. And he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't take very good care of his armor, but he still doesn't need it to be soggy and wet and all that.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna ask for a ruin roll from both of you. This is an exceptionally nasty situation. And Orlin, you cool, you marked your ruin from roll, right?
Yeah, I rolled 2, so mine does not go up.
Cool, so you're good. You got a 4, so your ruin goes up by 1. So you're both sitting at ruin 3. Cool. You can just note that on your sheet there.
That would be a nice little bit if like Pella starts freaking out and Orlin's kind of trying to calm them down a little bit.
Yeah. How does this Pella losing it a little bit? How does this manifest, and what does Orlin do to help them get through?
I think so this is unexpected. I guess Pela didn't wasn't capable to comprehend that they were entering an actual body. So it's not forest anymore. It's not ground. It's not bark of a tree, and he's freaking out a bit. And also I think the catching a glimpse of this lost child on the outside.
Yeah.
Perhaps seeing this this person on the outside. I guess in this lost child body language, some animal kind of body language, they were trying to stay as far away as possible from the carcass. And so this gave some kind of unease to Pela, and now he's understanding, they are understanding why.
Right.
And so they're freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that they've been, who knows why, but they've been traveling together for a while. So as they're kind of pushing through, he maybe is even reaching over Pela and like kind of separating now with his hands the flesh ahead of them. And once Pela starts getting like really antsy and maybe like breathing a little quicker, it's just this giant gauntleted hand that kind of just rests on their shoulder, gently pushes them a little bit along, and that's basically the like it'll be all right. I'm still here. Once I'm gone, then you can freak out. But
I guess it's kind of like when you have a kitty and you pick it from the
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
like the
it comes
scruff.
down, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's okay, it's all right. We're gonna be okay.
But you do eventually, um, break break open into uh, a place that you do not have to cut. It's unclear how far you've gone or how long it's taken, but you do enter what seems to be some sort of passage, and from there's two things that kind of tell you that you've made it deeper into the wound. One, you hear the sort of bustle and the like squelching as people carve into that their body. They're murmuring to each other, chanting, walking. Um, they are far enough away that it doesn't seem like you'll be discovered or anything. And uh, the walls of this passage, it's still not comfortable, but it is high enough that you can walk comfortably. And there's actually like there's a soft glow coming from, it feels like within the walls, not bright, but just like the night of like the light of like a half moon, just enough like your eyes adjust and you can make your way into it. And the walls are still slick with this um, antiseptic almost smelling ooze. Uh, and you can make your way down. It feels almost like a like a family tune with like stained glass windows, that kind of like light coming through this like uh, translucent flesh in the walls, and you can make your way down, figuring that where you're hearing the noise is where you want to go away from, and you can actually I'll put this to you. What signs do you see on the walls of this passage that indicate that this flesh has been worked, by the people who live here?
I think that so even though it's very claustrophobic, there are parts of it that we enter into that I guess the closest word I could think of is a little cavernous. It's like a low ceiling but an open space pretty much.
Yeah.
And I think that there's the equivalent of kind of scaffolding along some of the walls, like that people have been digging into this for a long time. It's become a kind of a machine itself.
If the scaffolding isn't made of wood and stone, what is it made of? Or what does it look like it's made of?
So I've been playing a video game called it's like a Lord of the Rings video game where you guys all play dwarves that go back into Moria. You know what I mean? And so what they do is they kind of like dig stairs into the stone that's
Right.
already there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, is that there are these paths dug into the walls of the giant to get up higher to where they need to go.
Yeah, awesome. Pela?
I guess I was imagining the same thing as you. Some wooden beams holding the ceiling and the walls, and but they kind of look like they are made out of bones.
Yeah.
A huge chunk of bones carved in the shape of a supporting beam.
Yeah.
Beam.
Yeah. And you can tell like these rods that it's made of, they have the same glow as it's kind of emanating from the walls. And Pela, as you enter one of these chambers, you're still feeling kind of claustrophobic, even though you've gotten some room to breathe. And you hear like there's like blood rushing sound, like the sound of a heartbeat racing in your ears. And like it's the kind of sound you would hear if you like you had if you had been running and wearing like a helmet, you would hear this blood rushing in your ears. But it's not in time with uh, your own heart. It almost feels like it sounds like it's another rhythm. Um, yeah. Um, but you enter one of these chambers, and the there's a part that is uncarved. Um, it looks like these are actually the chambers are getting larger as you go in, and they're worked more and more. And this one is relatively large, and there's the evidence of working in the scaffolding and the stairs on the side. But there's a large section that is not worked, uh, and there is a place carved into it, um, and on the wall, the flesh wall here, is a looks like a sigil tattooed into the wall. Um, yeah, that's what that is. Um, and it is it's about 9 inches across. It's not huge, but it is there. I think it's a good time to take a little break. Let's take 5, and we'll come back and see what you want to do next.
I was wondering, is the heartbeat that Pela hears a condition?
We can mark it down as a condition. Let's put it under conditions just as a reminder there. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that it's going to be something that necessarily impedes rolls or anything anytime soon, but you never know. Might as well put it there. Let's see. All right. Cool. So you're in this chamber um, uh, with the sigil tattooed on the flesh of the wall. What would you like to do?
I think Pela would take a good sniff at the sigil
Ooh, yeah.
to see if there's any urine odor or a special odor some kind, and we'll gesture also at Orlan, saying in some rough language. You understand. You men understand. You know, any writing is magical for Bella, I guess.
Right. I think so the smell you smell is kind of like bile, like not vomit, but kind of like the kind of what you get in the back of your throat. Um, but it's only when you like is like pressure your nose right up against it. I don't know that Orlin would know exactly what it is, but it, yeah. Tell me more what you'd like to do, I guess. It does look as if it would be like uh, it's not just decoration. Like it does feel like there's something there. It's hard to describe.
Is it like next to some kind of entry or exit, like a door or anything like that?
It's almost as if it's kind of like in a little alcove, like where like where you might like put a little statue or something.
Oh, okay.
It's like but it's clearly in a place that is undisturbed. It's like a place of intention, basically.
Yeah. I mean, when Pele's kind of like sniffing at it and stuff, he'll kind of touch it a little bit.
Mm. Yeah. And you do it does feel I don't want to say it calls to you, but you do feel a certain like there's something there, like some sort of something there when you touch it. Um, it is a magical sigil. I think it's pretty obvious when you like if you place your hand on it, you can definitely feel like there's power here.
I'm trying to think if Orlin would do what I, Billy, want to do. And I'm not sure if he would. But I mean, we're here for like treasures and stuff like that. That's why we came here.
Yeah. The text in the intro was the legends claim that the forest gifted the giant with a sigil of a ritual worn on their heart that keeps them alive.
Immortality would definitely give me some time to arm the resistance. That's for sure.
It sure would.
Yeah, I think that maybe he reaches back and he pulls out like a hunting knife, more or
Mhm.
less.
Yeah.
And he'll just yeah, let's just carve it out of there.
All right. Yeah. It is, this is the wall is not like muscle, but it is more like skin, so you can kind of carve around it and like peel it off, and it does come off with like gory little strands of uh, whatever, but you can basically carve it out and have it uh you know have it. What do you want to do with it?
Um, oh man. At the moment, I don't want to put it on me or
Hmm.
anything like that.
Hmm.
But just because I don't really understand it, like he doesn't know what it could be. It could be
Yeah.
I assume Orland's been around magic before.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, and you both have rituals, so like you're familiar
yeah.
with some of that.
So I'll take the the flap of skin,
Hmm.
and just because I would be interested, how about like he kind of wraps the skin around the haft of like his axe.
Cool. Yeah, and I think when you pull it off, like it's not an immediate thing, but there's a both of you almost feel a little more hopeful, I guess. There's definitely a change. Like it's not a change in the physical lighting of the area, but the area feels a little bit like, oh, like everything's still kind of fucked, and we are in the middle of this terrible forest, and we've just carved our way into a giant half dead god wizard. But I think it's gonna be okay, man.
This, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this.
Yeah. Um, Pela, how are you reckoning to this?
I was also wondering when Orlin peels off the sigil and the um, in any way the heartbeat that I hear in my head changes. For example, increases or decreases.
It does not, no.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Um,
Orlin, you can write down in your notes that you have the higher sigil of black bile. Sorry, did I talk over you, Ella?
no, it's okay. I was thinking what Pela would do. I guess uh, they would be amazed
Mhm.
and a bit scared,
Yep.
but reassured for sure that Olin could pull this off.
Cool.
Is there anything that changes um, in the physicality of the room, so to speak? It's only a feeling
Just that
that
kind of like
we.
lightning,
Okay.
that feeling, yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, um, would you like to press onward or try something else here?
If we're not like if we're not kind of bound in this room, I
Yeah,
think that Orlin will keep leading the way and exploring.
yeah. Um, and I think you do, uh, navigating in this space is not straightforward. It's unclear if you've kind of looped back around or if this is just a deeper part of the body. But you do come across an area where there are a few more of these the giant delvers um, coming and going, and they're kind of like they have they almost look like wineskins that they're like going in this direction, coming back from, and I think they give you a little bit of side eye because you're not like sigiled up like they are. No one like checks your hand for the scar or anything, but your presence is noted, and you eventually come across one of them that has their wineskin or water skin kind of tipped into It looks like they've like inserted it into the side and have like tipped it up, and they're just looking in. Um, and you can see something like from, unless you get closer and inspect it, it just looks like there's something moving like within the wall. What would you like to do?
So these people aren't like, they're not necessarily hostile, just notice that we're around.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, you must be new here.
Yeah. And if I was new here, I would definitely they would expect me to go check out what the hell they're doing, because that's weird, right? So
Yeah.
or maybe I'll he'll just ask him, with his kind of, he has this big voice, but he still speaks relatively softly, and he'll be like what exactly are you
Mhm.
doing with your water skin?
Yeah. And as you approach them, you get a better look. It's still like very, very dim, kind of like that moonlight almost. And so you don't really see it in detail until you get like right next to them. And the wall is kind of translucent. And you see something moving inside. It's about half the size of a person, um, and again, takes a second for your eyes adjusting to the dark to see what this is. Um, but it's got these two like giant black eyes that like it kind of like squirms around and turns to look at you, and kind of like uh, presses up against the wall, and it kind of like makes this like wet noise. Um, it's got a round mouth with like little serrations inside. You can kind of see, um, and it almost just like kind of takes notice of you, um, and then kind of like just turns to the side and seems to be like kind of working the side of the little pustule kind of it's embedded in. Um, what would you like to do?
So if I ask the guy that's feeding this thing, will he like be like, "Oh yeah, we're totally like birthing something here. We're just chilling. What are you doing?" Like,
Uh,
I'll ask him straight up,
yeah.
like, what exactly are you trying to do?"
Yeah, he gives you a look as like, I guess this isn't your job. He's like, oh, this is where we take the where we harvest the he says milk, but it looks like he's trying to think of a better word for it, I guess. Um, but and it looks like as you get closer, he's not. It doesn't look like he's putting something in, but it looks like he's kind of letting something flow into the water skin.
Ah, I see. Okay.
And you can see like as you're kind of getting the vibe here, he's not the only one. It seems like there are like this is a hallway where there are many of these um, kind of nodes in the wall. What would y'all like to do, if anything?
Yeah, what's Orlin will definitely be checking on Pella, because he knows they like to get up close to things and sniff them and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So since Pella is not the best at expressing itself, if you want to press on asking more questions, for example, what are you harvesting precisely, or why do you need that?
Mm-hmm.
But if I guess curiosity gets to Pella,
Mm-hmm.
so if they can get any information by by using their nose, or
Mhm.
even trying to taste
Yeah.
a bit of this substance. If the nose tells them, hmm, uh, looks interesting,
Yeah.
why
It
not
does have a
taste it?
sweet. It does have a sweet smell, I think. Um, do you want to try to get some that has been harvested, or do you want to kind of like wait for the guy to leave and get a taste from the source?
Um, I guess I would take it directly from the source,
Cool.
and uh, trying to be as sneaky as possible.
Hmm. Yeah, and he does his harvest and kind of gives you the nod and goes about his way. Um, and the sort of like the spot where it was being harvested from, like it's still kind of open and oozing, but does seem to be closing up. You could definitely take a fingerful or lick the wall if you want, however you like to do that.
I don't have a straw. Yeah, you take a lick at the wall, I guess.
Yeah.
Have a
Um,
taste.
and it's almost instantly, um, any sort of discomfort or pain that you might have had from your journey to this far just washes away. Um, and even like with your face, if you're pressing up against the wall, the touch of the wall in your hand just feels like the soft velvet almost. And Orland, you see, like as soon as Pele licks the wall, there's like you can see his eyes kind of roll back a little bit and just go very, very relaxed. Pele, I think this is just take the condition drugged. Yeah, you're feeling real good.
I would just to all in to taste some.
Yeah, I don't think that he would follow. I think he would just do the whole like, okay, like when your dog is not done eating and
Mhm,
you're like, okay, it's time to relax, and the dog's like pressing through you. I think that's what I'm picturing, at least.
mhm.
uh but yeah, he's like, okay, let's keep going. I'm glad you feel a little bit better.
Yeah, he feels great. Um, cool. And as you press on, I think this is the end of ring one. So ring two will be the lungs. You are as you press on through, no, not literally not pressing like you were before, but as you continue on down here, there is a a steady wind of stale air. Um, it smells a little more rotten than the area you've been in, um, and um, it eventually opens. There's kind of a turn that opens into this huge cavity. Um, it's got this steady wind kind of going in and out, or going in at the moment. Um, the It is vast. It is vast, and the walls are there are these melon shaped globes all across all the surfaces. It's kind of like it opens into like the entrance comes out here and it's like opening into this huge cave that kind of goes like that. It is clearly a lung on the inside. Um, you can kind of see even the uh, when you step in, if you look at the globes on the wall near you, you can see this really vivid, almost effervescent red liquid coursing through it. And the wind is slowly dying. What would you like to do?
So we're like just out of character. We like in the lung?
Yeah, you're at the entrance, like the it's unclear if it's the wound has pierced this far or the delvers have dug into the side of it, but you are like at the entrance to the side of the lung. Yeah, like it's
Okay.
pierced the side of the lung.
Yeah, I mean, he'll kind of. I think he's almost. I guess single-minded would be the best way to put it. Like, we know the story about the heart, right? So we must be on the right track if we're feeling airflow this deep in this thing. So he'll go first, especially if it dips kind of down. He'll kind of slide his way down.
Yeah.
And take stock of, if there's any other of those delvers running around or anything like that.
What about Pela? How is feeling good Pela doing this?
Pela's having a good time. Following Erlen, and I guess also keeping an eye out for path on the ground, anything peculiar. But in general, they're just having a good time, and they're following Orlan, and they're amazed by this wonderful place.
Yeah, and I think since I think it's starting to wear off a little bit, and you're still kind of like pretty warm and numb feeling, and you actually, I think you stumble over or step into some of these globes that are on the ground, and it's just a wet pop, like like a meat bubble wrap, basically popping those. It's a little gross, but also like in your mood, a little fun. And you both notice that the wind has stopped.
Calm before the storm kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Orlan kind of looks around, and he'll kind of just do the wait thing because Pela's like having a good time. So he's like, oh, hold on, just don't move for a second.
Yeah, and everything is still, and then the ground that you're walking on is kind of like spongy and uneven, kind of like got these kind of this rugose texture, and after this like a little bit too long of silence, the ground kind of just like shudders, and the wind picks up again, and it feels like it's blowing stronger outwards. Some of it's rushing out of the entrance that you came in, and you kind of get blown back, almost toppled over. Probably Orlan's probably able to keep your footing better. I think definitely Pella in this situation kind of like gets knocked off their feet. Yeah. Anything in particular you'd like to do here? And the wind, like it's still, it goes for a while, so you can figure out what to do here.
Yeah. If Orlan's pretty steady-footed, he'll try to take slow steps to make his way over to Pella probably just to actually pick them up and try to carry them with him.
Yeah. It's rather strong. I think this is a risk roll for you. This is this is pretty strong. And I think persistence is a good skill for you to use here, or persistence and or strength. So that'll get you a light die. What do we feel like could go wrong with this wind kind of blowing you back strongly towards where you came from? I think one consequence could be that it could like blow away stuff that you are holding or wearing. It's quite strong. What else do we think could go wrong here?
We might need to backtrack
Mm.
and find another way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically my thought. You guys both covered it.
Cool. Great. Would you like a devil's bargain?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Um, so you are trying to get to Palo and kind of pick them up and get them to go with you most of the year. The devil's bargain, whether you're able to do that or not. Um, I think you'll run into one of the inhabitants here in a uncontrolled manner. Pela, any thoughts?
I have a couple. One could be no matter what, when this is happening, Pela freaks out and bites you.
Mm.
And the other could be no matter what, you catch a name in the wind and a familiar voice saying, Orlen, you'll never get to me, Orlen. And of course, it's Lord Affir or someone else.
Yeah, I like the last one a lot just because in the way I've been thinking about it, he is, like I said, a single-minded person. So he's super obsessed with Lord Halfir, right? But it's like that kind of like that meme where the other person's like, I don't even know who you are. You know what I mean? So this is so important to him, and the guy like doesn't give a shit about Orlin because
Awesome.
he's a small player. So I really like that idea.
Cool. I don't necessarily think you're risking your mind or body here, but if you want to throw in the dark die, I'm not going to stop you.
No, I'll roll the 2 light.
Cool.
It's a 6. 1 and a 6.
Ooh, nice. All right. Cool. So you are able to do it without issue. You almost have to kind of grab onto the little extrusions and stuff that are coming out of the ground as you kind of make your way without getting blown forward, basically. But you're able to make it over to Pela and get them upright. I think as you're part of the reason you're able to get them upright is the wind is beginning to die down again. Great. What would you like to do once you're there?
So after that, he knows it's just going to happen again at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to kind of take stock of where they came in, if they came in from the side, and he'll turn kind of up towards. He's basically scanning for an exit, more or less, and or another sigil that's written around here.
Yeah. I think as you like there is there are a few moments to calm. You're able to make your way a little bit further in. You notice that there are it is not clean in here. The wind in and out has pulled debris in, not only like from the caves, but even from the outside. You see like a dead bird kind of stuck up against one of these little globes. Clots of tissue, hair, and you see as you kind of like are scanning the area to kind of see where to go next. You see some of these globes. There are varying sizes, but there are some ahead of you that are 4 or 5 feet across, probably, and it almost looks like there's something or someone inside. And this is when the wind picks up and kind of blows you forward again. You're ready for it, though. What would you like to do?
So you said that there's like something in these pustules.
Yeah, there's bigger ones here, and if you just kind of like let go, you would definitely be blown towards them.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna let go.
That's the foolhardy way to go for sure.
Yeah, he'll try to basically he'll hold on to Pela, and then when the breath or whatever calms down, he'll let them roam for a second, almost like you would let your animal go check things out, and then call Pella back right before. I think he's kind of timing it in his head a little bit while they're wandering around here.
Yeah. Pella, how are you doing in there? I think you're back to baseline now, from your ooze.
I think as soon as Pella's down, they will so they don't like the situation and this wind and these things on the ground, and so they'll try to hunt for a path of safety, for an exit, for someplace else. And I guess so I don't want to go back again to the sniffing, but if there some vibration on the ground, some or something different in the texture that I'm touching with my hands, for example. Perhaps I could follow that.
Yeah, and every time or just after the calm here, you feel the ground start to convulse. It's not just a vibration; it's heaving a little bit, and you as you kind of do your smelling and taking in, there's it almost there are motes of dust, it appears, if they were far away, but they're actually larger and close to you, and they kind of move with the air. I think as you're kind of sniffing around and exploring, how close are you sticking to Orlin? Like, is it easy for them to keep a rein on you, or are you kind of going off on your own?
They can surely keep an eye on me, but I'm going as far as I need to. But always in shouting distance, but not necessarily in striding distance.
Yeah. I think I'd like to get a risk roll from you the next time the wind comes, to see if because you're not as sturdy as Orlin. think. So yeah. Let's see what do we have for skills for you. Foraging, hunting, paths, and hiding. I don't know. So the thing that is happening is the ground shudders and the wind begins blowing inward, and threatens to take you with it. I'm not sure that any of those skills are applicable. What do you think?
I could argue. I don't think so. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
hiding perhaps, but
Yeah.
if we want to stretch it. But if I was wondering if the wind is on time, so to speak.
Yeah.
As Orlan wanted to keep track of it, we might consider Orlan the equations, to speak. So he's trying to close the distance.
Mm-hmm.
So oh shit, Bella is going too far, and he's trying to close the distance.
Right.
But if you're okay with it, otherwise,
yeah, I think that counts. So I'll give you life for that. I think what could go wrong is you would be blown too far away. You would be separated.
Yes.
At least, yeah. Anything else you think might go wrong here, Orlan?
No, I think separation is paramount.
Cool. Would you like a devil's bargain?
Yeah, sure.
One that comes to mind immediately is that your friend from outside has followed you in. Whatever that means. What else?
Yeah, I don't think I have a better one than that. I think that's going to be the only devil's bargain.
Would you like to accept that one?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Cool. I think we're definitely risking body here, getting knocked around. So it's 2 light, 1 dark.
It's 5 dark.
5 dark.
So my ring goes up.
Your rune goes up to to 4, right?
4, yes. Getting close.
Great. But you do manage to not get knocked around too badly. There is a consequence to this complication. I think you are physically buffeted around a lot, not enough to cause damage. But you are knocked into one of these larger nodes, these larger sacks of flesh. And as you do, inside you see someone in there. It's unclear if they notice you as you kind of like bonk into their stuff, but you see that you've disturbed it, and they whatever or whoever is in there begins moving around a little bit. But you're able to make your way back to Orlan if you would like.
Yeah, of course.
And when you do, I think that's when you can see like in the distance, at the entrance that you came in, a small figure kind of observing you. What next?
So did they find a path out?
It's not yet. It's still pretty it's a large area to traverse. So you have a general idea of the direction to go. You just have not made it all the way in yet.
So Bella will acknowledge the other lost child.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have sort of a direction figured out, they will tell to Orlan this way.
Cool. Do you tell Orlin about the whatever's in the sack?
I try to, I guess. Was it a man?
It's
a human figure?
man-sized, yeah,
Okay.
like as if a man was kind of almost like curled up inside of it.
So I guess in my mind is, you know, like sort of an egg and some a grown-up man coming alive, and I will say some nonsense, I guess, to Orlan. Child man, big child man, let's get out of here.
Yeah, and if you point at it, it's not too far away, and you can see you know there's something moving around in those for sure. And after acknowledging the other lost child, they sort of disappear. You're not sure if they came in or just left, but yeah, you've lost track of them.
Yeah, if he is just kind of telling me that that's what's in there, then I won't really I won't want to mess with it or anything unless Pela's like, we got to save that person. He will definitely not go over there and be like, oh, I'll help that guy out. And in my mind, he didn't see the other lost child that followed us in here.
Yeah, probably not.
So yeah, he'll just now that Pela's scouted a little bit, he'll kind of hold them and just if they point, he'll start trudging that direction in between the breaths, basically.
Yeah. And as you pass that area where it only looks like there's a couple of them, you do almost basically almost trip over there's the remains of a person kind of it's hard to tell whether it's the floor has kind of grown over them or if they've been pushed into it, but there's definitely decayed flesh and bone of a it's hard to tell whether it's a treasure seeker or one of the giant delvers, but there's definitely remains of people kind of smashed into the floor of the lungs here. Yeah. So you're just gonna make your way across. I think it seems like you've got a handle on crossing with the rhythm of the wind here, and yet the tone in here is definitely brighter. It's almost as if the little globes with the blood flowing through them almost give the place a little glow. Yeah, and if you don't want to investigate anything further in here, I think that will be the end of the ring. Is there anything else you want to poke around at?
I think that Orlin is done. He's not used to, nor does he like getting pushed around in the slightest. So
yeah. Cool. Well, that will. Oh, go ahead.
I know. I agree.
Awesome. Cool, and that will wrap up ring 2. I think this is a good place to close for the day. We can do 3, 4, and 5 next time. I think with 2 players, it goes a little faster. Yeah,
I like 3, 4, and 5 in the second session because it just ramps all the way up to the top.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely.
Cool, great. Let's close off with some stars and wishes. So let's go in the other order. So Michaela, I'm sorry, am I pronouncing your name right?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Cool. Yeah.
But
Do you have stars and wishes for us then?
yeah. So it's always difficult to pinpoint a specific star. So it's it's been real fun.
Hmm.
So it's how you say, unwrapping in a very interesting way.
Hmm.
And I I like the characters very much, and I like the this sort of um, relationship um, that has come up. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
taking care of, I guess, with Orlan taking care of Pela a bit. Um, uh, because they are running out or getting in danger, or they can defend themselves.
Mm.
And I really like the atmosphere that you got going so far, and also very interesting with the um, the devil's bargain that we had so far.
Hmm.
So I think we'll have some surprises for the next session,
Yeah.
probably.
Any wishes?
um, I'd love to see. I love to discover more about Lord Halfir,
Hmm.
uh, what they have done wrong, and why is Orlan against them,
Yeah.
and also I'm curious to see what will happen with this other lost child that is
Hmm.
now is wandering the caves, a bit
Yeah.
like Smeagol.
Great. Cool. Billy, stars and wishes with us.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thanks everybody for playing. I haven't played trophy with just two
Hmm.
hunters or survivors before, not survivors, but so this has really been interesting, and it's a lot more intimate than
Yeah.
a lot of people are used to with trophy in general. And the way you brought Pela to life almost instantly was super cool, and it was really easy to play off of, especially because I didn't really have an idea of what I had no clue what I wanted to play. But I just kind of saw a guide and Lost Child, and I was like, oh yeah, big guy hanging out with a lost child. It's pretty. I like tropes. Sue me. You know what I mean? That's just
Yeah.
how it goes.
That's what they're
And
there for.
yeah, Mark, as always, it was great. With our public access game, things couldn't get like as body horror as this.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy to play in that space because it's some of my favorite stuff. And yeah, wishes just keep going. And my biggest wish is that my fucking Zoom would stop crashing every 5 minutes. So I know that's nobody else's. I'm saying it to the computer gods. If they could listen, that would be great.
Awesome.
I hope there
Um,
were two versions of you at some point.
Doppelganger. Yeah, stars, having a great time. I've not run this before, and I love how gross it is. It's just going to get more like that, so I'm really enjoying um, getting into that. I really enjoy the dynamic that you have set up with the big guy, little guy, and yeah, both of your characters have just come to life immediately. That's one of the things I love about Trophy so much. It's so easy to just like drop into a instant character. Um, yeah, y'all are doing like really well. I think this almost slides into a wish for me. I feel like I have difficulty with ring twos a lot sometimes because it's more like the environmental ring where like stuff happens. And if you roll okay, then it's like, okay, maybe you get a condition or two. Um, I think it's not a wish for me for this one, but for like next time I run, I kind of like trying to figure out how to tweak ring two a little bit, or the way I present it a little bit. But yeah, there's there's some sick stuff coming up. So I'm really I just want to see how y'all roll into that. So cool. That's it for me. I'm not sure if Billy's frozen or not, or if he's just placid. I think he's frozen.
You think he's gone?
Yeah, I think he might have crashed out. Great. Anything else? Up there we are.
There is.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
We weren't sure if you had fallen or if you were just very stoic.
Sometimes I try to be stoic, but not that good.
Cool.
Character.
Anything else we want to do before? Yeah, go for it.
I just had a follow up on the thing you were saying, Billy, about playing with two players and the relationship that comes out. And I guess one of the most fun time in Trophy is when you have two characters that bond so much, and in the end you have to see some conflicts. So
yeah,
it's always you know, a little tear in the end because they were so nice together.
Yeah,
and,
it has to fall apart.
Yeah.
And also I always forget it because I don't know how to you know, give some stars for refereeing or GMing. But thank you so much for you know, this game, because also I guess 50% for me is how you say feeling comfortable, and that's also thanks to you, because
awesome.
It was really, you know, interesting and fascinating, and I could picture in my mind what was going on. And
cool. Thanks. Yeah, run. This is only the second or third time I've run for only two players. It's such a different dynamic. It's really neat. Cool. Anything else before we wrap it up? All right. I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks for whoever's watching.